to Saturday morning cartoons. Maybe I ought to unmute you, Rose. Hold on. I'm so stupid. I'm such a girl. Wait a minute. Hold on. You're coming. Hi, Rose. I can hear you now.
Good morning, everyone.
There you go. She says something. She said something now. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. It's Saturday morning on this lovely May. And once again, we present to you cartoons that we revisit from our past. And we just want to say hello to anyone who's listening to us out there. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to do several things at the same time here. Hey, Jerome, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Other than Connecticut and your state, you're the only two states that have not opened up.
Yep.
Is that correct?
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, and that's fine by me, because I'm gonna tell you, like I was telling the guys before time here, I went to the bar yesterday after work. Wanted my favorite dish that I usually get there. And it wasn't packed, but it was at least the 25% of people there, and no one was protected at all. So it really made me feel uncomfortable. So I got out of there as soon as possible, because that's not really something I want to do. Go ahead, Jerome. I see your finger up.
So I went to 3 grocery stores yesterday to sort of stock up and everything, because we were, the cupboards were bare. And I like to make an important safety note for people. When you wear the mask, you have to cover your nose also.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
To the woman in the Demoulas parking lot, you don't wear 2 or 3 around your neck like a necklace.
Oh, that's a first. I've never seen that before.
They're not a fashion statement.
Okay? Three. Now, what is that? Just so they can layer up?
I don't know. All I know is that she wasn't wearing the mask when she went in, even though the sign says you have to wear a mask. And she had 3 of them wrapped around her neck, looking like a necklace.
That is bizarre. That is real. It's bad enough that they restrict my breathing. Damn, if I'm going to put 3 on.
The funny thing is that it's it's sort of on a state of emergency order that you have to wear them to go into grocery stores and all that.
Sure.
And a lot of people are freaking out around here, and I don't want to get into the politics because that's not our show. That's another show.
Good call.
But if you're gonna wear them, the mask has to go mouth and nose.
It is the bizarrest thing that people do not understand the reasoning for the mask. And it's like, well, okay, I'll put this around my chin and I'll be in compliance.
Saw that too. Down to just the chin. I'm like, what are you trying to protect your beard?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you're serving up a sub to me and you got to protect, the hair that may fall into my food. That's not the purpose of the mask. If anything, it protects you more. Those droplets can't get into any one of your, sorry for the word, orifices. But it's like, okay, I've seen it where people are literally wearing it up to the point where your mustache starts right under your nose.
I've seen that as well. Yep.
Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show today. This show for today, we have done one before, but we always can do multiple shows on every subject that we've had in the past. And this show alone is basically going to be focusing on cartoon vehicles, as hosted by Jerome. I did the last one, so I'm really, really interested in what he's got. So take it away, Jerome. I'll go ahead and give you the podium right now and go for it.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome.
Stop. Rose already knows what I'm talking about. Where's the rest of your freaking hair? Not that direction. Go south, young man. Go south.
Well, all right. Well, as we were discussing before the show, I've started using a CPAP machine to help with breathing while I sleep, and it just doesn't work as well with the big bushy Grizzly Adams beard. So, what was it? Wednesday night, Cara? Yeah, Wednesday night, Gwen and Cara sat me down in the kitchen and took the trimmer and just went to nuts. There is some video of it, but we're editing it because there's certain things we don't want the world to see.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Well, they did a good job. It looks nice.
Yeah.
Finally, you look human. Oh my God! Do you
Oh,
look
wait a minute, wait a
Yes.
minute,
Before.
wait a minute. Can we see Mark's face for a second here?
Hey, I was really getting concerned, Jerome, because I could have sworn I saw apes on horseback going through your living room, and I'm like,
No,
yep,
no,
we
no,
digress.
no.
We have
I am
digressed.
much nicer people. I was preparing a nest for the birdies.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay. But how's your big afro? Are you ready to, put on the pimp outfit?
anyway, Jerome is here to talk about cartoon vehicles right now. And hey, I am either going to the barbers today or tomorrow because I know I'm gonna.
I'm telling you,
Gives me 2 chances to fight the crowd. So I'll
weekend's
go.
not the best time, Mark.
I know,
it's
but
busy.
I really can't go during the weekday. Well, I could, but I'm
Hey,
tired when I get home.
I saw women lined up by one of the hair salons by where I work.
Man, that would have been
outside the door.
That would have been a great video for a chick fight. So I can see her pulling and grabbing it. Yeah, I was here first. I was here. I got nails.
It's 100 degrees outside, and they're waiting outside the salon, like there's a line of them all the way past. They were all wearing masks, though.
It boggles me, but I mean, you guys are probably in more desperate need of it than we are. Because I've seen some frightening looking women in the supermarket, man.
Yeah, but you know what? I saw some frightening looking people before Corona. So,
I was praying to the salon gods. It's like, please take care of these chicks. I can't take it anymore.
Mark, do you remember the first Tim Burton Batman movie where the Joker had put the chemical in all the makeup, and then after a couple of days,
yeah,
they showed the newscasters.
You saw the newscasters. The newscasters was on. They were looking pretty freaking bad. I forgot all about that.
I think that's where we're at right now.
Oh my, yes. Man, because it's nothing but zombies walking down the street, man. No makeup needed. This is it, man. This is what happens.
This is The Walking Dead.
Oh my God! Yeah, absolutely.
What's also bad is some of the people with their fingernails, they can't quite figure out how to sharpen or paint their own nails.
Yeah, yeah. I think in the need of all national security, I think we need to get these chicks into the salon at least to get those fingernails down. Those are lethal weapons.
Some guys are the same way, like a certain co-host.
Yeah. Oh. What? Anyway, we're going to get on back to what the subject at hand is for this morning. By the way, Saturday morning, if you look at this banner here, I have there at the bottom, we're going to start broadcasting from our Saturday morning cartoons channel starting next week. But there are going to be shares to each one of our pages, so you can access it through multiple sources again. So Jerome, it's all yours, buddy. What are you talking about today?
Well, before we get started, I do have to make one quick announcement.
You're pregnant?
No.
Okay.
I may look it, but I'm not pregnant.
Okay.
No. I just want to wish my younger brother a happy birthday because today is
happy birthday.
Joel, I want to wish you a happy birthday. I don't know if you watch, but I know one of your kids always tunes in for a few minutes, so I want to say happy birthday.
Yay! So it's your younger brother.
Yeah, my younger brother by 3.5 years.
Wow, unbelievable! I wonder what he looks like.
Like me a little bit, only a little bit heavier.
Oh, he needs a shave too.
Gotcha. No, he's kept his cleaned right off.
All right, good man. Well, happy birthday, Joel. How old? 3 years. You said 3 years younger.
Yeah,
than you.
So he's about 50. I think 53 right now.
Oh, I actually was going to say like 63, but okay. Anyway, so
all right,
go for it, buddy.
So originally, when Marc had done the cartoon vehicles, we all loved it. We thought it was great. And what you guys don't see is the after show, which I think we're going to have to eventually do an after show like they do on TV. Is Rose and I kind of got up in Marc's grill about the vehicles he missed. Unfortunately, we didn't really take any notes when we did that. So I've had to work off of memory on some of this. Now, shortly after that happened, I was fortunate enough to meet up with an author who we'll be talking about later. And he talked about one of these vehicles we're going to do. But we're going to start with the most classic of the vehicles. No, we're not doing Speed Racer. No, we're not talking about Mach 5, which is in itself its own character, but the Great Thunderbirds. 90% of the people never watched it for the show and the characters. They watched it because the planes and the vehicles were ultra cool. So, Mark, if you could run that first clip, starts about 3 minutes and 10 seconds into it. It gives a very good description of what the Thunderbirds are. Okay. I don't know if he heard me. Mark's, of course, having problems with headphones again. And he's not responding, so we're going to have to talk. The Thunderbirds are an international rescue. They're sort of a secret session. Can you hear me, Mark?
I did. I put myself in the lobby so you could have access to the screens and all.
Okay. Could you run that first clip, please?
I sure will. Stand by.
It starts at 3 minutes, 10 seconds.
Oh, you want it at 3:10?
Yes, please, because I don't really need to go through the opening theme music again.
What? Oh, my God. I think you just insulted every Brit that's probably watching right now.
Right there is fine.
Let's try that.
Nope, that's at the beginning.
Yep, I'm on it.
Thank you, sir.
Funny, as I pressed play, it went all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Outwardly, the luxury home of millionaire ex-astronaut Jeff Tracy.
Now, let's have a rundown on the international rescue craft. At the moment, there are 5. Thunderbird 1, sleek, first, and fast. Thunderbird 2, giant transporter, carries all the rescue gear to the danger zone. Thunderbird 3, designed for space rescue. Thunderbird 4, capable of withstanding the pressure of the depths. Thunderbird 5, space monitor, capable of receiving or intercepting distress calls from any part of the world.
There you go.
International rescue.
There you go. You can stop
On
it there.
behalf of Joe and
Okay,
myself,
stand by.
I thank you from the bottom of
Trying
my
to get
heart.
to the controls here.
Uh-huh. So there you have the International Rescue Thunderbirds, basically the 5 of them. There's a new version of a cartoon out, which basically is the same thing. They just go into a little more detail as to how they get into them, how they use them. But these were the original 1965 Thunderbirds. You guys want to comment on any of these?
Well,
I am still in awe of the show.
this is probably one of my favorite all-time Saturday mornings or even syndicated days. A show that I've seen that I love, even amongst the all of Jerry Anderson's work. I think Thunderbirds is the one that stands out the most. I think for the whole British Empire, Thunderbirds is almost like their banner waving TV show of any show, even above Doctor Who, I would think,
Yeah.
But my favorite vehicle, of course, is the big belly one, the big green fat daddy. I think that's 2. Thank you, Thunderbird 2. I love that vehicle, and then it's interchanging gut.
Well, what's interesting is there's 5 separate cargo bays, and I found something on the cargo bays, but it wasn't complete. It was only a couple of them, that they basically to transport stuff to them. The new animation that they did, the modern animation for Thunderbirds, they keep basically the same thing as you see today. However, the anime world in the 1990s did their own anime version of the Thunderbirds, which I will say the less said about it, the better. Okay. I watched a couple of episodes in the research for this and had nothing to do with the Thunderbirds as we know it.
Yeah. What about the action movie? Did you like that?
I thought it had potential until the studio got hold of it and decided to take it away from Jonathan Frakes. And instead of making it a serious film, they turned it into this kid solves the world film that was popular at the time. And I thought it had a lot of weak spots.
I think you're absolutely correct on that.
Now, however, there is a vehicle in the Thunderbirds that we have not talked about yet. So if you could please pull up the next video and go to the 1 minute mark, I think you'll all agree this is perhaps the coolest of all the vehicles on the Thunderbirds.
All right, let's take a look at this. And
just needs, 1 minute.
All right,
it just needs a better paint job.
Oops, it's going forward here.
Yeah, right there's fine.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard to do the scrolling.
As Lady Penelope's aide de camp, I'm in charge of driving this here machine. And a nifty bit of kit it is too. It's 21 feet long, big for the average motor, even in the 21st century. With my foot hard down, I've got it moving at over 200 miles an hour. Her ladyship did that once too. But that particular assignment is probably best forgotten. A souped-up engine is just the tip of the iceberg. The entire chassis is bullet and bomb-proof. Pretty handy when some diabolical villain is up to their dirty tricks. The front end of the car is packed with some really hefty hardware. The radiator grille houses an high-powered machine cannon. Just the thing for shooting down hostile heli-jets. There are also two machine guns, one on either side of the car, hidden behind the headlights. These guns can be aimed using a special targeting sight that pops up when the guns are armed. The famous spirit of ecstasy acts as a signal locator, capable of tracking small devices placed on a target person or vehicle. Now, how about we move to the rear of the vehicle?
Hey,
it's just as impressive as the front end, that's for sure. For starters, we have two smokescreen canisters, ideal for loosey-nosy blighters trailing Fab 1.
I need that on my car.
Next, we have the oil slick dispenser, a real slippery customer for anyone who gets too close for comfort. Then, if they really haven't taken the hint and look to be bad trouble, the pair of rear-facing machine guns will sort them out with no problems at all. If we happen across someone trapped in a tight spot, Fab 1 is equipped with a pair of harpoon launchers attached to solid steel cables, strong enough to move most of the obstacles we're likely to face in our unique land of work.
You know, they could have just rammed that door.
Forgot. The boot of the car has an hydraulic lift platform that can be raised to gain access to high places. As you'd imagine, Fab 1 spends most of its time on the road, but the vehicle is adapted to traverse other kinds of terrain just as easily. The underside of the car is almost as interesting as the top. A set of hydrofoils can be lowered when we need to travel on water, and we haven't brought Fab 2. It may weigh 3 tons, but thanks to Brain's engineering know-how, Fab 1 floats like a dream. When we're out on the water, a gas turbine aquajet propels us along at a nippy 50 knots, which is even faster than Thunderbird 4's surface cruising speed. One of these days, I really must ask Gordon for a race. But I digress. If we're visiting colder locations and there's a good deal of snow, we can lower the skis and use them to get about. It certainly beats riding on an horse-drawn sleigh, I can tell you. Like all other international rescue craft, Fab 1 is equipped with long-range transmitters and telecall facilities, so Lady Penelope can keep in touch with headquarters and the other Thunderbird machines. Her ladyship and I are both very fond of Fab 1, and you can imagine how we felt when it met its demise during the Skyship 1 disaster. However, Brains was able to rebuild the car from scratch, and now it's as good as new, with some improvements over the original. He even joked about adding a flight mode, but I'm not sure there was a square inch of space left for it. Brains Laboratory, Parker here.
Okay.
Parker, we are off on a mission again.
Very good.
That is the most I've ever heard him say past "Yes, milady."
I want that car. I think all the women on here on the show want this car.
It wasn't just the women, trust me. Now, in answer to your question, why didn't they ram to get the door open?
Yes.
Would have scratched the paint job, Mark. You got to think through. You know?
Yeah. And as for it's not just the women who want that car. If you paint it a different color, I'll take it. I want mine black. Okay. Not
no.
pink.
Fire engine red.
I don't want all my buddies on the corner laughing at me as I drive by. Look at that ugly car.
So, like I said, everybody talks about the planes, and rightly so, but we had to remember Fab 1. Now, they make reference to Fab 2, just so you know what that is. That's Lady Penelope's yacht.
Ah.
Of course she's got a yacht.
Well, yes. Now,
commoner.
In the modern cartoon that they've done, the animation, Fab 1 can also fly. All right.
Yes, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth your time checking out the new version of Thunderbirds and the vehicles and everything involved. Okay. Now,
whoops. The
next show, I'm bouncing around chronologically because of the way I did the research. In the 1980s, you all remember how wonderful Transformers was and some of the sequels and the ripoffs that started.
You know, it's more than meets the eye, right?
Exactly.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
But you know, what most of us don't know about is what happens behind the scenes. In this case, about things like, say, the sales pitch for these. Now, about a year ago, when you guys were doing Bugs' Villains episode, I was at a cartoon convention where I got to meet the great Buzz Dixon, writer of Batman the Animated Series. He wrote a number of episodes for G.I. Joe, and he and I got to talking, and he allowed me to do an interview. Now, before we run the interview, there's a clip number 4, please, Mark. If you could run that.
Oh,
I'm skipping around. I apologize.
Yes, I noticed. Got me off.
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
I
put them in the wrong order on the sheet because of time, and that was my fault. I apologize.
All right, keep talking. Give me a little.
Seconds. What you're going to see is the result of the sales pitch. That after we do this, I want you to go right into the interview, Mark, where Buzz is going to tell you how this show came about and some of the problems they had. Okay.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. And I am ready. So
go right ahead.
Let's do this.
And by the way, before you get going, the Buzz Dixon interview is about 10 minutes long. So go ahead and not worry about that.
We're going to do the whole interview?
Yeah, because I didn't edit it, so I don't know where the stories are and all that. You can stop it at any point you feel appropriate.
Got it. All right. Let's do this here and go.
Master, it was a stormy night when a bolt of lightning forced me off the road. My car skidded into a government laboratory where a top-secret experiment was underway. I swerved into the path of Dr. Chase's molecular transfer ray, causing me and my car to become one. The incredible Turbo Team!
My God, how did I miss that?
You'd be glad.
I never saw that show.
I think I'm kind of glad I missed it.
1984, 13 episodes, huge criticism as to what was going on. Now, what's interesting is when I was doing some research on this show, they said the reason that this show came out was because of the popularity of shows like Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you will see from the interview, that's baloney.
Okay. Which one? Knight Rider?
Yes, the whole Knight Rider thing, complete baloney.
Okay, so we can basically take a human being and change him to a car instead of actually getting in one. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, just watch the interview. You're gonna love Buzz Dixon. Trust me on this one. He was a lot of fun. Okay.
Stand by, guys.
And he has a wonderfully warped sense of humor. Warning: there is some adult language.
No shit.
Jerome, I'm here at the Saturday morning cartoon. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. I'm still learning how to use this camera. I'm here with Mr. Buzz Dixon. I'm going to hand him the phone in a minute, and we're going to talk with him so that you can see his face instead of my ugly mug. And we're going to talk briefly. He's going to tell us some of the work he's done, and he's got a lovely story to tell us about a show that he spent a whole 15 minutes on. And he'll tell us all about it and the fun. So, Buzz, let me hand you the phone. You can say hi to all my audience.
Okay, hello. I'll
there you go.
We can do that.
No,
yeah.
that's me. You don't want me.
We don't want you. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. You're a pretty good-looking guy. Let me get up here. So
there you go. So, Buzz, we want to say thank you for the work you've done.
Well, thank you.
Saturday morning people, we really love the work there.
Thank you.
And could you tell our audience a little bit about what some of the work you do?
Well, I started working at Filmation Studios back in 1978. The first series that I worked on was called Tarzan and the Super 7, which, incidentally, there's no way you can add those characters together and come up with 7. It's either more or less, but there's not 7. After that, I went over, I did a little freelancing, and then I ended up at Ruby Spears. After Ruby Spears, I ended up at Sunbow, where we worked on Transformers, G.I. Joe, Gem, My Little Pony, Inhumanoids, Visionaries. After that, I went freelancing for a while, and then I got more into comics, and I was an editor at Penthouse Comics very briefly, and I had my own imprint. I had a line of books that were aimed for the tween to teen girl market, and we came out with about 12 books in that series. And right now I'm doing a lot of short story writing and novel writing on my own. I'm a much happier person for it. But I enjoy.
Is there a particular genre you're writing?
I write Buzz Dixon stories.
Okay.
And the only way I can describe them is that every story I write, regardless of its specific genre, is a little off kilter.
Okay.
I sold a story recently to an anthology called Earth Giants, Golems, and Gargoyles, and the name of the story is Mike's Massive Penis. And it's about a guy who goes surf fishing, and he finds a massive penis, and he brings it home. Hilarity ensues. And in fact, when the editor got that, she sent me a message, said, the moment I saw this, I was like very trepidatious about it, but then when I read it, it was very funny, so I included it. But I write these oddball stories, and it just kind of reflects my point of view, because everything that I've worked on, even in animation, I kind of took an off-kilter view towards it. You were asking me about my career, and you mentioned the show that I was on for 15 minutes. I was kind of the giant robot bug in animation during the 1970s and 80s. I had seen, because I belonged to a group called the Cartoon Fantasy Organization, I had seen all of these Japanese cartoons years before anybody else saw them. And I was just astonished at the depth of characterization and storytelling in them, and just how much more grown up and more entertaining they were than the typical Saturday morning stuff. And I saw that the giant robots were their equivalent of superheroes, and I kept telling everybody that I worked for, says, we've really got to do a giant robot series. We got to do a series about this, because the kids will connect with it. Everybody, oh, you're crazy, you're nuts, you're this, that, and the other thing. Well, I was at Ruby Spears. We had just come off of Thundar the Barbarian, and we were...
Oh, I love that show.
We'd done Thundar the Barbarian. We'd done Puppy's New Adventures. We were just getting ready to plunge into the depths of Mork and Mindy, which... the less said better. The less said the better. Anyway, and Joe called us into a meeting, and there was these guys from Hasbro, and they said, we've got this secret project that we're coming up with. We want to show you guys. And they opened up this briefcase, and it was filled with Transformers prototypes.
Okay.
And they were saying, yeah, we're going to be introducing these toy lines, and we want to find somebody who will partner with us and do an animated series. Okay. And it was all I could do to just, not burst out weeping with joy at the meeting. And as soon as the meeting was over and they left Joe Ruby's office. I said, Joe, you have got to get this series. You have got to do this. This is going to be big. This is going to be huge. You've got to do it. And Joe said, nah, I got a much better idea. It's about a teenage boy turns into a car, you know, and there's a series called Turbo Teen. And I can't tell you how disappointed I was that we didn't get Transformers, and I was absolutely correct.
Yep.
Transformers went on to become huge.
Yes, it did.
And it jump-started an awful lot of other giant robot shows. A lot of Japanese anime came in because of that, because it opened the door just a crack, and enough anime could get in similar to it, and then the whole anime wave. But anyway, we continued to work on Turbo Teen, and they developed a Bible for Turbo Teen, and Joe calls another meeting, and he has all the writers come in, and he gives us the Bible to Turbo Teen, and he explains the show to us. It's about a kid who turns into a car, and then I said, well, does the car turn into a parking lot? And Joe didn't find that funny for some reason. Anyway, so he says, go back to your offices and come up with some story ideas. So I go back to my office. I try reading the series Bible. I get about halfway through it. I toss it into the trash can. I go back to Joe's office and I said, Joe, I'll work on the show, but you got to explain a few things to me. If the kid is a car and they take his wheels off and he turns back into a kid, is he missing his hands and feet? If the kid is a car and they remove the engine from him and he turns back into a kid, is he now missing his heart? If the kid is a car and they put a suitcase in his trunk, when he turns back into a kid, and Joe said, I'm putting you on another show. So that was the end of my involvement with Turbo Teen. Later, while Turbo Teen was in production and I was working on Mork and Mindy, I think that was the time. If not, I was working on another show. I was going to have lunch with John Dorman, who was the head of Ruby Spears' storyboard department. And they had a dynamite storyboard department. I mean, if you're familiar with the cartoonist Jim Woodring is very famous. He's won all kinds of awards. Jim was one of our storyboard artists, okay? And we had guys like Kurt Conner, Dan Reba, just enormously talented storyboard department. So I'm going to go meet John for lunch, and I go to meet him, and I walk into the storyboard department, and they're all sitting at their desk with this kind of expression on their face. And I thought, oh, brother, they've had an argument, they've had a fight, they're all feuding with one another. And I stood there waiting for somebody to say something, and I stood there 90 seconds. And the reason I know it's 90 seconds, they had radio on, and 3 commercials played. So 90 seconds, dead silence. You know, these guys just like this. And finally, how salty can the language get on this?
We can edit if necessary.
Okay. I'll try to be careful. I won't use the writer's name.
Okay.
But finally, John Dorman said, God damn Joe Blow! And they all started pounding their desks and screaming, God damn him, God damn him! Because what had happened was one of the other writers, Joe Blow, had written a script where Turbo Teen, as a car, climbs up on a high dive as a car, and he gets on the diving board and jumps up and down as a car, and then he executes a jackknife as a car, dives into the water, swims over to a rowboat, climbs into the rowboat as a car. And they were expected to storyboard this, okay? And this is why John's crew was chemically enhanced most of the time. But they were just like, how do you do this? How do you even conceive of something like this? And, you know, it's like, well, that's why I asked Joe the question about the suitcase, and that's why Joe took me off the show. Because I would ask these questions, and I would expect answers, and when the answers weren't available, I got the boot. So,
well, thank you very much.
Okay,
we appreciate you talking with us today, and
very happy to.
We're glad to have met you.
Thank you
very
so much. Okay,
right, bye.
All right, guys, there you go. Coming at you from the Saturday Morning Kartoon. we'll get back to the show, and Mark and Rose will tell you all sorts of things. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Hey, buddy boy, that was brilliant.
You did a great job. That's a great interview.
I gotta say, Buzz has since become a friend of mine on Facebook, and he has got the most wonderfully warped sense of humor that you have ever seen. He's really a fun guy to communicate with and be. And I wish I had more time to have hanged out with him at that convention. It was a small con. I got to talk with him all day there. If you ever get a chance to meet Buzz, take the time and spend some time. This guy tells great stories. He's a lot of fun. Now, on a sad note, though, he did lose his beloved mother-in-law to COVID. So we send Buzz and his wife our condolences.
Absolutely.
We do.
But I will say, Buzz, I know you're watching because you asked me about this when I told you I was running this show. Thank you for the interview. We'd love to talk to you some more. If you want to come on the show, there's an open invitation.
Absolutely. And it's a pleasure to have met him, which I've obviously did via you, not personally, but just through this interview that you did here. And I've learned a lot. I had no idea that he was behind so many of the shows that I watched when I was growing up, as Terry had mentioned, which is fantastic, Terry, that over in Ireland, you get to see a lot of our stuff, and you remember this one. So Turbo Team for me, vague. I think there was a reason why I didn't remember.
I understand why Buzz left. He had a lot of good points there.
What was fascinating to me was behind the scenes stuff. Okay, that people who write about these shows don't know the stories. That this was not based on Knight Rider, but actually a reaction to Transformers.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, man. That's a great education you took us to.
So,
all right.
So there's that. No problem. All right.
Good job, buddy. Good job. What you got next?
Well, since Buzz mentioned that the story department was chemically enhanced, we need to go back. We need to go back to the show that required you to be chemically enhanced.
Yes, I love
that show is, of course, HR Puffin stuff. Okay,
I'm sorry, I don't remember that one. I'm sorry.
And I will say this now: I did some more research on it. We've talked about HR Puffin stuff a number of times on this show, and I went back and did a lot of research on this. And first off, they basically have stated that nobody was chemically enhanced that they knew of when they made this, including the producers. Yeah, that's what everybody else is saying.
Look at this picture. Come on.
Now,
doobie the way.
Right. Now, the kid that played him,
Billy Wilder.
Billy Wilder.
Jack Wild.
Yeah, Jack Wild. I'm sorry, Jack Wild.
Yeah, not Billy. Sorry.
Yeah, he later suffered heavily from substance and alcohol abuse and passed because of it.
That show will do it to you.
Yeah. Now, on this show, as you see on this screen, the coolest vehicle that I can find, which is what's called Witchy Poo's Vroom Broom.
Okay. Vroom broom in the sky. She made material line.
There you go. Now, the beautiful thing, if you can go back to one of those pictures for a second there, Mark, I just want to show people some cute angles of this thing. You had a picture there.
Oh yeah, I'll go back. Yep.
Yeah. Now the Vroom Broom. Okay.
I think I had an even better one.
We'll get to that.
Sorry.
Okay. So first off, as you can see in the back, not only is magic flying this thing, so it's a rocket-powered broom.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. It has air-on and elevator controls like an airplane, which I'm trying to understand how she's doing the air-ons. Those are the flaps. And she's got an umbrella to cover her, and it's got a sidecar.
Yes.
What sort of plane has a sidecar? and as I said, and what you're going to see in one of the episodes that I watched, to get it started, she has a Kickstarter, like a motorcycle, and only Billy Hayes could fly this thing. Okay,
yes. Billy Hayes.
Now here's the good news, folks. Billy Hayes is still alive and with us.
Yay!
Yep. And Billy Hayes has her own webpage that if you make a donation to her favorite animal charity that she lists, you can get an autographed picture of her on the Vroom Broom.
We should reach out to her, see if she'll join us.
Yep. Okay. So go ahead and run. There's an episode I gave you. It's there's 2 of them, but we're gonna skip the rescue car. We're gonna go right to the vroom vroom. Go to 19 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay. So you're not going to go to the.
No, I'm not gonna do the rescue car. No, I'm not gonna do that one.
Okay. 1910. You say.
Yep. Yeah, because this is part of an episode.
Gotcha. 19. Oh yeah, sure is. Wow. Whoa. And 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Back.
Now, this is a bit of an episode, so you're going to get some back and forth, but you're going to get, this is the best I could find of the vroom vroom.
Got it. I'm going to start 1902.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Howdy, north and south. Now all together. 1,
John Wayne.
2.
Well, it's the winds, the 4 winds.
Right. That was a western wind, I guess.
Yeah, there's, you know.
North, south, east, west.
Yep.
I want to fly one.
Okay.
You want to stop it?
Yeah, that's fine. That's there's no more pictures of the vroom vroom.
Okay.
Okay, so if you notice it, whenever she flies it, she grabs that steering wheel and she's just trying it like, some kid that's got his learner's permit. You know, all over the place, And what is fun about this is that this is actually it's a very popular vroom vroom. There's pictures of it all over. I even found blueprints online for the vroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like to see those.
Yeah, I'll have to send you where I found those. But I'm just looking at it going, this is insane. This is a great thing. And unfortunately, I don't think they realized how popular Witchy Poo became or was.
Yeah.
Because they always, they've always turned her into the villain. Now, what's funny is,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
She did play a good guy role. She was the genie in Lidsville.
Yes, she was. But she got it because of this role.
Yes. Yeah.
When she did the audition, she walked in and just jumped up on top of the desk and started, doing all sorts of weird things. Yep. And they immediately hired her on the spot.
That's how you get the job.
Yeah.
That's how I got my job.
The show would not be good without her.
Yeah,
oh my God. Yeah. You always have the standout characters in a lot of these shows. This is good casting. I really like how they did that.
They did they did a movie of HR Puff and stuff, which they had a witches council, and the head witch was Martha Ray of the Witches Council.
Yes.
And Mama Kaz was Witchy Poo's rival. And having read this, they basically said Mama Kaz was not that great of a person on set, but Martha Ray was the friendliest person you had ever met, they said.
Yeah,
she was taking people out to lunch, taking them to dinner. It was amazing.
Wow.
And so there you go. There's the vroom vroom. They had other vehicles, but again, the way HR Puff and stuff moved around, it's hard to get some really good clips of them.
Right. Excellent.
If I'd gone through all 26 episodes, I probably could have gotten some more of the vroom vroom, but I couldn't handle going through 26 episodes of HR Puff stuff.
Hey man, I loved HR Puff.
I did too as a kid, but as an adult, it's hard.
Yeah.
It used to scare me when I was younger. It really did.
Yeah.
The trees especially. Yeah.
But what I really loved is your next one coming up.
Well, the next one, yep. Go ahead and run the clip then.
Well, I was gonna stand by. Let me drop this. So many moving parts in this studio. Drives me nuts sometimes. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you a tech guy to run the board for you.
Well, anything helps. Here we go. This is dear to my heart.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
It's really interesting how I didn't think I would like anything Star Trek related. Whoops, let me get rid of this. Yeah, Star Trek related with a new theme song other than the original. But this is just as great.
Well, that's because they start off with the original at the beginning, those opening notes.
Right.
But what's interesting about this show is first it was canon, then it wasn't, and now it's back to being canon. Okay. And this show introduced us to the holodeck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you had the holodeck on it. You had a realization that the computer was actually sharper than people thought because there was an episode where it ended up playing practical jokes on people. The ship itself is a character in of itself. And if you go back and watch the original series and even the movies, you'll always see that the Enterprise itself is in some ways a supporting character throughout the entire show. Okay. The aspects of, for me, and the fact that they are now going to do the Captain Pike series with Pike number one and Mr. Spock has some interesting aspects. I hope they go back to an older looking version of the Enterprise than the over large deck that they've had in some of the Discovery and stuff like that. I hope they really, really feel good towards the original series if they're going to do Captain Pike series.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Now the next one, as I like to tell everybody, when you talk about the best, you have to talk about the worst.
Careful.
Okay.
Careful.
And this vehicle qualifies as one of the worst.
All right. Just don't knock the 70s, dude. Okay?
I love the 70s. Again, though, if you watch, this is the Sid and Marty Krofft Super Show series. Again, I firmly believe there was some serious chemical enhancement. So.
Okay. I give up. You're right.
All right. So go ahead. And this is from a show called Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. And as Marc is showing you, this is their vehicle. Okay. The Electro car. Okay. An open-topped, bubbled tricycle. It's a 3-wheeled vehicle.
What's your point?
Yeah. Not really that great in a
we were hip back then, young man. We were hip.
We were many things, but I don't think hip is. Now the
Huggy Bear would smack you upside the head, man.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have.
70s rock.
Because Starsky and Hutch had the cool car.
Ooh, yes, they did.
All right. So apparently this vehicle can not only fly, but can enter low Earth orbit. So go ahead. The clip I gave you is part of an episode, and
we knew what we were doing.
Go to 20 minutes and 17 seconds.
Oh, sorry. You didn't want to put up with this, huh?
I like the opening theme too.
We've talked about them before.
How many seconds? 20
10,
what?
10. 20 minutes and 17. There you go. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough right there. You can see how bad the villain is.
Alex, you stay here. Keep Dyna Girl's Electrocom trained on those 2 sour notes. Let's go.
This is going to be a royal pleasure.
Oh my God. I messed up the video, his outfit. Okay. Bet they had bugs in their teeth. Oh, imagine.
Did you make it in time, Electro Woman? I don't know, Dyna Girl. The Geronium is forcing the satellite into the stratosphere. Frank, we're in trouble. We're not gaining on it. We need a trajectory intercept program.
You've got it. We're putting you on Super Electro Boost.
Oh, don't do that.
All we can do. I hope we make it before it's too late.
Super Electro Boost activating.
Super Electric Boost. Size of an iceberg.
There it is. It's going into orbit. Come on, Electroplane. Just a little bit closer and we'll be able to use the Electrovives.
Don't overload on this crank scope. Don't overload.
Wait a minute. Are they in space?
Wait any longer.
Well, it's in orbit. She said it just went into orbit.
Well, I guess they got rid of their bug problem now.
For my far-out rendition of
And their
Sorry,
oxygen.
Glitter.
Okay.
But this is one song that will
Can we
never
stop
be
now?
a
Yeah,
golden
we can
oldie.
stop now.
Thank
So
God.
they're in an open air vehicle in the stratosphere, which is what, more than 20,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Dinah Girl give her little wrist thing to the guy, and then at the end of the ship she's using another one?
Yeah, again. Yeah.
I gotta think Deidre Hall needed money for a mortgage payment or something to do this show. Okay.
Well, this is before she became Deidre Hall. Okay. She's best known for her many, many years on Days of Our Lives, where she did a very good job.
Yeah.
But this, everybody gets to start somewhere. Okay.
Oh my God, man! The image is kind of burned in my brain there. Whoops, sorry. For casting there.
Yeah, and like I said, if you said it was the 70s. It was fun. I'll be honest. I watched the show. I watched the show religiously as a kid.
I had a little power car sort of like that, but not as cool colored.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, but I watched that show a lot.
Well, I watched it because they were chicks, man. Come on, superhero women. This might have been pre-Wonder Woman, right?
Let's see. Electro Woman Dinah Girl is 76, so I think it's about the same time.
Okay. All right. Well, that works. They were hot. They were both hot. I really think they were both hot.
Yeah, I haven't done the research to see whatever happened to the girl who played Dinah Girl, because she, as far as I could see, she didn't really go on too much farther beyond this.
That's too bad, because she was my Mary Ann.
What was fun is that as you watch this, and I went back and looked at this, the villains of Electro Woman and Dinah Girl were really right out of the 70s.
Oh my God, from the hair to the sparkly outfits to the, even white guys had froze. You're absolutely right. All right, scare us with the next one.
All right, here's your next one is Arc 2. One of the things about the 70s was a lot of talk about environmental dystopias.
Yes.
And the vehicle you see there is the Ark. Interesting vehicle, way too big on the inside than what they're showing you.
Hey, stop it. That guy was Doctor Who driving that thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, a lot of people confuse this vehicle with the vehicle that was used in the movie Damnation Alley.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. They were built off of the same frame, but they weren't the same. There was a lot of
difference. I noticed it by the wheelbase. I almost downloaded an image of that and said, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the same image.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, as the drawing shows you here, the size, right, of the guy next to it, there's no way that the guy can stand up inside that thing. Right? Yet in the show, he's walking around. This guy looks like he's 6 feet tall. He's walking around and he's got like an extra 2 feet of headroom. So if you want to go ahead and run the clip, which is nothing more than the opening, it just shows you some of that vehicle.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this thing, though, is he did get to fly around on a jetpack.
Oh, that was the best thing, man. I had Lost in Space flashbacks like crazy when I saw him doing that.
James Bond.
James Bond, too. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oops, come on. Vehicle, get off the screen.
Which was interesting that 4 years later, in the 1980 LA Olympics, they would use a jetpack to help.
Oh, they sure did. Yeah.
Help light the Olympic torch.
Yeah, good catch. Okay, ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
For millions of years, Earth was fertile and rich. Then pollution and waste began to take their toll. Civilization fell into ruin. This is the world of the 25th century. Only a handful of scientists remain, men who have vowed to rebuild what has been destroyed. This is their achievement. Arc 2, a mobile storehouse of scientific knowledge, manned by a highly trained crew of young people. Their mission, to bring the hope of a new future to mankind.
That damn thing's top heavy.
Arc 2 log, entry number 1. I, Jonah, Ruth, Samuel, and Adam
I'm the monkey.
Are fully aware of the dangers we face as we venture into unknown, maybe even hostile areas. But we're determined to bring the promise of a new civilization to our people and our planet.
not sure why those jetpacks were not advanced, brought up to our, century.
The biggest problem is on jetpacks is fuel consumption.
Makes sense.
They go through fuel really fast.
I'm just going to the store. Come on.
Okay, so as you saw from this thing, it's basically computer filled with lots of data that they can provide, so they can do historical records. They make lots of usage throughout a number of the shows. My personal favorite episode is when the bad guys found a tank and we're using it. The radar unit is a communications and radar array. There's a few weapons in there of lasers, that they can use. I'm still trying to figure out what the purpose of the monkey is there. I never really understood
because it was
that.
the 70s, and all the 70s shows had a monkey.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't argue with the logic. I can't. Once again, Rose beats us with logic.
Thank you, Rose. There's always a reason for a monkey.
But so like I said, the vehicle was fun. The shows were stupid, but they were very in line with Planet of the Apes, Logan's Run, all that area of that era before. This is about a year before Star Wars came out.
Right.
And everything in that time frame was dystopia.
Star Wars just pissed everybody off.
It destroyed everything, leveled the
We were doing it right. What are you doing, man?
I mean, if you like some of the pictures you've shown, I can show you scenes in the TV show Planet of the Apes, TV show Logan's Run, that they were using the same
Even
MASH. The locations were all the same. And this was all about the environment. If you notice, all these shows say they don't talk about global warming because it didn't happen. It's all pollution and some sort of environmental disaster. Okay, and Arc 2 covered that, and we're gonna come around, and they nowadays they call it the White Knight syndrome. We're gonna come and save you. Okay.
Yeah. Yay! So, here comes the Winnebago. Here comes the Winnebago.
Okay.
Mercedes.
The giant Winnebago, yeah. So now we're going to get into the silly, okay?
Well, at least it's cartoons now.
Yes, it is.
Again.
So go ahead and run the opening to Yogi's Space Race.
Yeah, I think I went outside and played when this came out.
Stratoblasting in from deep space, racing through distant galaxies. It's Space Race.
Yeah. Okay. So
people breathing in space again.
I don't remember the show at all.
No, it's good for you.
Okay. So
it looks dreadful.
This was a combination of a takeoff of the Wacky Racers and Scooby Laugh Olympics. Okay, and you'll notice that they've gotten pretty much a large section of the Hana-Barbera crew through this, and they included two of the Scooby knockoffs, Jabberjaw and whatever the dog one was. I can't remember which one that was. Yeah, the droopy dog over there.
Right.
Okay. Now, ironically,
Huckleberry Hound?
Yep. Okay. Now, here's the funny thing. If you look above,
oops.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. You see Yogi in the upper right-hand corner?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the outfit he wore on the spin-off of this show. This show had a spin-off.
Really?
The show had a spin-off?
Yep. Yogi got himself a crew, and they went on missions.
Oh, I got the stupid theme song, I think, going through my head right now. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I think.
So the show, I mean, you're right. Who was it that just said they lost brain cells?
That was Cheryl.
Cheryl,
and I agree with her.
Uh-huh.
Can we watch HR Huffing Puffin stuff again?
No, but I got a cooler video for you in a minute. So
Okay.
yeah, so this one, but ironically, this was actually popular. Showed up in syndication all over the place during the late 70s and early 80s.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, if you depending upon the UHF channel that you were watching and how desperate they were to fill time, especially on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, especially Space Race Laugh Olympics showed up everywhere. They must have been dirt cheap.
I think
You know?
because of you said this before, the network stars that were playing on ABC during that time.
Yep.
I think they were just trying to milking ideas off of that and animated world. Yeah.
Battle of the Network Stars went from basically about about 74-ish to about 77, and it was huge. The ratings were outrageously, ridiculously high. That's why they did numbers of them.
They had Circus of the Stars too.
They did, but it wasn't as popular as the Battle of the Network Stars. That the Circus of the Stars only had 2 or 3 shows. Battle of the Network Stars went several years.
I remember watching both. Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. It was very huge. So if you look, the next one is not really a Saturday morning cartoon or a Saturday morning real life one, but they ran lots of reruns of it during Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I was in that category of live action children's fair, I guess. I don't know.
And this one is a personal favorite of mine, is the Monkey Mobile from the TV show The Monkees. Now, hang on a second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So what you see there is a souped up GTO. Okay. And the person who did it is Dean Jeffries, the man famous for the Jeffries tubes on Star Trek. Okay. If you they're going to show a video of the guy who bought one of the screen used versions of the car. It's got some really good close-ups of it that I thought you might like. And what's interesting is there's a bloomin' parachute pack in the back of the video.
I noticed that when I watched it too. Yeah, there's that parachute pack. Yeah.
If you go ahead and run that clip and start it at about 25 seconds into it, we're only going to run it for about a minute and a half at most.
25 seconds in. 23, 24.
There you go.
All right, we're on screen.
Arizona. I'm very proud of this car. I loved it since I was a little kid. I used to watch reruns of this show after school when I would come home. Just always thought this was the coolest car ever. Never ever dreamed that I would own this car. But fortune was with me and things just worked out amazing. I didn't even know this car was going to be in the auction. I went to a Christmas party. Somebody gave me a Barrett Jackson catalog, and as they handed it to me, they said there's a few things in here that are pretty cool. There's the Batmobile, the Beverly Hillbillies jalopy, and the Monkey Mobile. And I was like, took me 2 weeks of debating, should I go? And then, no, I'll never be able to afford it. I decided if I didn't go and at least try, I'd hate myself if I was watching on TV and I could have afforded it. I ended up winning. I was on a mission.
Okay, I think that's good enough.
Well, it started out life as a
Those are some pretty good images of it riding on the road there. So
yeah.
and
like I said, it wasn't used all that often in the show. Okay, it was really more of a publicity thing for them to stand around because, they're a California band, you got to have a car.
Right.
But I know every guy that I ever knew growing up wanted that car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a cool car.
It was. All right. Where am I at here? Hang on a second here. I lost my shade.
You were at one of my favorite shows coming up.
Okay. Now, the problem with this is there wasn't a lot of video clips to get some real long-term clips of this vehicle. The next vehicle we're going to talk about is the Voyager from Fantastic Voyage. Now, this is based off of the famous film starring Raquel Welch. Who cares about the rest of the guys that were in it?
Was there a movie going on around her?
Yes, there was. There was. Which was interesting because in that film she actually did some really good acting. We joke about her in the in the outfit, but she did some really solid acting in that.
She was a scientific assistant to the professor leading this party. So
right. And if you go back and watch it, you kind of like, oh yeah, she's in a diving suit. But
Rose, have you ever seen Fantastic Voyage, the movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. We watched it for English class in my 11th grade.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a good film. But the show was based off of that, and they made some major improvements to the vehicle. Okay. Now, what we're going to show you is a clip is somebody made a model. They originally made a model of this thing, and the history of the model is interesting as to that only a few of the original models were ever released to the public. So it's one of the most rare models kits out there. Then it got reissued 2 more times. The first reissue, the publisher, the people who did it didn't think there was a market, so they only made like about a dozen or so that didn't sell because nobody knew about it. And then they went on a few more years later, and then it sold like crazy. And so basically what this is a 3D look at the model. The ship itself can fly. It can be a submarine. It can be a spacecraft, and it can travel through the cracks of crystals, which is an interesting episode. So why don't you go ahead and run that clip? It's only about 1.5 minutes to almost 2 minutes. Okay.
I just love the music.
Oh yeah, the music's great. But as you can see from how this vehicle looks, okay, and much like in the thank you, and much like in the movie and the show itself, the pilot controls it in the bubble. There,
right.
Okay, it gives him a pretty much a 270-degree angle because of vision, because the damn tail's in the way you can't see it. But this one is an LED lit up.
Does the hand come with it?
No, you provide the hand, like batteries are also not included.
Well, that sucks. Nice model though. I was building a lot of models when I was a kid.
Weren't all the boys?
Yes.
So
I like the glue the best.
But there you go. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty cool though.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've seen what we need to see.
All right.
All right. So that was pretty much the from Fantastic Voyage. This ship itself was a character. You had to have the ship, or you couldn't do what they wanted to do with a number of these shows on it. And like I said, I always thought it was an interesting show. There was lots of other aspects of what was going on inside. The fact that it got hijacked a couple of times was an interesting aspect of the show, instead of having biometric security or whatever, which was even back then thought of. They just didn't put it in the cartoon.
Gotcha.
So, all right.
Yeah, man. Now
The last one.
some meat.
Yeah, the last one is the one I saved for fun, because this one got silly in some cases and serious in others.
What are you talking about?
And this is Wonder Woman's invisible jet / transparent plane.
Don't knock the 70s, man. You
Okay.
did it twice already.
Again, I love the 70s, but we have to admit the silliness of it.
This ain't silly.
Yes, it is. Okay. Now,
look at that. That ain't silly.
Okay, so 1973 was when the Super Friends showed up. Okay. Woo-hoo. And we're going to show some clips of the Super Friends. As a matter of fact, we're going to show a lot of clips of the Super Friends with the invisible jet / transparent plane. But there's a couple of things I want to mention since Mark brought up the 70s. There was a pilot movie that made of Wonder Woman starring Kathy Lee Crosby and Ricardo Montalban, where while they never showed the invisible jet, they make reference to it. Okay. Then, of course, we had the wonderful Linda Carter Wonder Woman. And as you can see by the wonderful clip there, we have the invisible jet. Okay. Now, I'll be honest, when the first season of Wonder Woman, for Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, went off the air and moved from CBS to ABC, I think it was, or whatever, one of them, it jumped networks and went modern. I don't recall if Wonder Woman had the modern invisible jet, if they ever showed that in the seasons 2 and 3.
I don't either. I don't remember.
I remember they showing it all the time in the World War II version, which was season 1, but I don't remember if they showed it in the later versions.
Yeah, well, I wasn't concentrating on the jet. I'm just saying. Okay.
But one of the things that they had, and they've used the Invisible Jet in the new Justice Leagues and everything else. The Invisible Jets now play an important role. Of course, there is a question. There is one episode of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited where she gets the Invisible Jet. Okay.
There's a controversy going on. It's probably always been there of whether Wonder Woman can actually fly or not. You know, which would negate the necessity for a jet, but
right.
You know.
And she was retroconned during a series of comics back in the mid 80s called Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Sure.
And when they relaunched Wonder Woman, George Perez and Marv Wolfman, who I've talked to about these things, nice guys, both of them. Yeah. They've actually said that they basically gave her trying to think, Hermes's wing sandals to let her fly.
Yeah.
And that's how they decided it. It's just that nobody ever sees it in the drawings anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how she flies. Okay. That's how they retroconned her when they did a rewrite. Now in Justice League and other things is basically she's taken somebody else's jet, which has a camouflage / cloaking to make it look invisible.
Sure.
My favorite line in Justice League was she says she likes it. She's going to keep the jet. Flash looks at her and goes, "Yeah, but you can fly already." At which point Martian Manhunter looks at Flash and goes, "Yeah, and you have a car."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But these are the Wonder Woman's in transparent plane from Super Friends of 1973. If you could go ahead and run that, it starts on about 2 minutes and
26 is what I.
Yeah, you can go a little early, a little late. This is a compilation of all Wonder Woman stuff. They did a lot of these for her 70th anniversary. Yeah, there's that line I was telling you about.
That's so not the point.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back.
Yeah, you can go back a little earlier on that one.
I can't believe you kept that thing.
Spoils of war. I like it.
What do you need a plane for anyway? You can fly.
You drive a car.
That is so not the point.
I've got another idea, Batman. I can take Aquaman right to the ship in my transparent plane.
Fantastic, Wonder Woman. At 5,000 miles an hour, you'll have him there in a few seconds.
At the controls of a thought-powered transparent plane, Wonder Woman commands the motor to switch on.
Yeah,
the plane begins to taxi toward the hangar door. And the thought-powered plane rises into the air.
I still marvel at your transparent plane, Wonder Woman. A robot plane that you fly by using brain waves.
The only thing that can surpass super strength is the power of the brain.
Dense hurricane clouds appear ahead, and Wonder Woman speeds toward them. Winds of over 100 miles an hour try to drive her off course, but the transparent plane is too powerful. Now Wonder Woman dives her transparent plane faster and faster, 4,000 miles an hour, 7,000 miles an hour, 10,000 miles an hour.
I claim BS. I claim BS.
A massive suction.
That makes her faster than a speeding bullet.
The hurricane's twisting energy dissipates, and the ship is saved.
Yes, sir.
I love that she can wing walk.
Let's go, Gift of Hera.
Concentrating on the task at hand, Wonder Woman uses her telepathic powers to command her transparent plane to do her bidding.
How'd she rotate around that rope? What the heck was that?
He also treats it like a helicopter.
What is that?
Yeah. Now she's gonna flood the whole valley.
That's the whole point.
Thank you, Athena. I arrived in time.
They don't realize there are million-year-old amoebas in that thing.
Thank you.
See? Look what it did to that guy.
Blue Jet, I am about to block your beam with a heat barrier.
Wonder Woman's transparent plane emits a shield of superheat. As she had when she swept up the red tide, Wonder Woman deploys her Wonder Net, billowing below and behind her. The Wonder Net spreads out as it settles into the lake. Aquaman, waiting below, helps guide the net as it sweeps through the water. With the mothership firmly trapped, Wonder Woman tows the huge craft upward from the bottom until finally it emerges and lies beached on the shore. Using her telepathic powers, Wonder Woman summons her transparent plane. As Wonder Woman, Batman, and Robin dock alongside the space station undetected.
I may not be able to see you, Wonder Woman, but with your tiny size, you're helpless to stop me.
Using her telepathic mind control, Wonder Woman summons her invisible jet.
When did she ever have telepathic mind control?
It's the 70s, man. ESP was a big thing.
Wonder Woman's a telepath?
Well, if you have it, you gotta have a night break.
My magic lasso will take care of all three of them.
Damn shit's got more buttons than Speed Racer.
Great Hera! Those troops are marching Exorian prisoners through the desert. This'll teach them not to play in the sand.
Take cover!
Let's break away.
We can't take too much more, Captain. The ship will break up.
Hard to starboard! Ready the cannons!
Their laser cannons must be radar controlled to have homed in on the invisible jet. My wing reflectors should handle it.
Wing reflectors? What the hell is that?
It's like the laser's back. That's fun.
He's raining rocks! Run for your lives! We've got to stop the meteor shower.
Some fast maneuvering with the invisible jet should take care of that.
Oh, BS! BS!
My magic lasso rockets will take care of those attackers. I'm picking up a telepathic message from Aphrodite.
Diana! My temple on the planet Kaltos is about to be destroyed by an earthquake. Hurry! Protect it for me!
I'll do my very best, Aphrodite.
Planet Kaltos.
What do you think,
Great
Jerome?
God,
I think we're
how
good.
am I going to stop an
Kill it here.
earthquake?
Yeah, 'cause my
How is she gonna stop an earthquake?
my BS meter was going crazy, man.
Like I said, the 70s were fun.
I don't care what Greek island you got that ship from. It cannot rotate at fast speed in the middle of space.
So the 70s were fun. It got silly fast. I gotta think that it's one of those things of they either wrote themselves into corners or it was how do we make Wonder Woman in her current incarnation relevant? Just like with Aquaman,
Yeah,
Right.
that was very impressive, Jerome. Don't do it again.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my version of the vehicles.
I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Wow.
Now,
Don't lie, Rose.
now I do have to challenge Rose that once again, because I think we could probably do a third part. I think it's Rose's turn to start thinking about a vehicle episode.
You're gonna make Rose come up with some cartoon.
You know, I will
videos now?
say this: Rose does the best of all of us on research.
Yes, she does. Yes,
So
she
I
does.
think if she puts her mind to it, she's gonna make the two of us look really bad.
We'll see. Maybe down the line.
Yeah, not right
Fine
away.
that's fine with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday morning cartoons here, and I have no idea what Rose is doing next week because
It's your turn.
Your turn.
Oh, oh God! Oh, foul, Phil.
Your
foul,
turn.
Foul, Phil. Foul, foul.
I just did the last. I did last week.
She did.
Yeah.
Right.
Alrighty. Wow, you really got out of that one quick. You know? I'm not doing another one. You know. So,
I have my ideas for the next one. It's just going to take me a little bit of time to do it. So.
Yeah, well, okay. I guess you need the time to get this all together.
Your last one was G.I. Joe.
Yeah, he was a real American hero, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Go Joe.
Go Joe. Yo Joe. Yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, people, the cartoon crew that's been up and watching us this morning. Now it's time for you guys to go out and do your chores and your errands and running around like Rose has to do.
Yeah, wait a second.
Okay.
Mark,
yeah.
you're going to be on a show this afternoon.
Yes,
you're being
I'm
spotlighted on Reels and Heels.
Yeah, Reels and Heels. I'll be on at 2:00 this afternoon. We're going to be just talking about, I don't know, whatever the heck they want to talk about.
I think they said 1980s movies.
Yes, we are going to talk in 1980s.
Yeah, your top 5 must-sees, I think.
Yeah, and hey, on the HWWS Facebook page, guys, Lupo and Lee are coming back with movie reviews. But since we haven't been to the movies, what we've done between myself, Rob, and Garrett, we picked 3 movies each and created a poll of 9 movies. I saw that
poll.
Yeah,
I did not see it.
My 3 were Arsenic and Old Lace, You Can't Take It With You, and The Final Countdown. So if you guys would go to that page and vote on your favorite ones, whatever are the top 3, those are the 3 that we're going to do, not tomorrow Sunday, but next Sunday. We're going to do movies based on those 3 that you, the pollsters, chose.
Already made my voice. Already voted.
What we'll do is the 6 that lost, we'll recycle them for the following Sunday, but add 3 new ones, okay, to substitute. So it'll always be 9 movies you'll have to choose from. And I'm a classic guy, so that's why I picked Arsenic and Old Lace and You Can't Take It With You. And I just watched The Final Countdown, I think last week on Netflix or whatever.
That's a fun film.
Yeah, and I loved it again after revisiting it. So we're gonna start doing movie reviews on that, and it's gonna be interactive, so you guys can join us on your little thoughts, though. So go to the HWWS Facebook page and vote on those 9 movies. You know, at least one of those 9 movies, and the top 3 is what we're gonna talk about. So that's one other thing. What's the other thing? Anybody got any announcements? Anything they wanna make the public know?
Thinking here, I know there's always something that we can announce. There's a new Star Trek show coming out. I'm very excited about that.
Very excited about that.
You know,
yeah, Star Trek: Strange New World.
Yep, that's going to be exciting.
Pike.
Yep,
Captain Pike series. So that's really interesting. How many series have we had? How many Spocks have there been?
3.
3 Spocks. So we got original. Up-to-date movie.
Quinto.
Yeah, Quinto.
And the new guy, his name escapes me.
Yeah, Peck. So
I like him, though. He does a good job.
Yeah, he does. So that was announced as of yesterday or day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Going to start. Yeah, and there is no release date. At least I didn't hear of one unless you did.
They haven't even started. I mean, as far as
give them a year. Give them a year.
Yeah, they're not even going to start production until next year sometime.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to, along with Discovery and Picard. So CBS All Access is really building themselves up as a Star Trek network.
Yep.
Believe it or not. So we look forward to that. Yes, thank you, Charles. Oops, sorry. Put that back up. He says yes. Oh.
Discovery.
There was a young Spock. Yes.
Yeah, and
her brother.
Yeah, well.
Flashbacks. They were
flashbacks. But, you know, I think for all purposes, I think we still talk about who the...
Yeah, and you're right. We should eliminate that because if we talk about young Spock in DSC, we got to talk about young Spock in the movies as well.
Also, young Spock in the animated show.
Heck, we got to talk about old Spock as the original. So, I mean, yeah.
You can do a whole show on Spocks.
Yeah, we can do Spock show. Yeah, the Spock show. My God.
But does that include Dr. Benjamin Spock? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, not him.
You always have to throw him in.
But hey, guys, Saturday morning cartoons once again this week. It's my turn next week. Oh my God, I just did one. How can it be my turn next week?
It's your turn again.
I just did G.I. Joe. What came after G.I. Joe?
My show.
Her show.
What was her show? So memorable.
That was it was the tribute to that guy,
Oh,
Gene
I love
Deitch.
that one. I take it back. Deitch. Yes,
Gene
I really
Deitch,
like that
yeah.
show. That was, and Monroe. I really like that award-winning anime. That was a good show. My God, it's my turn again.
Every third week, pal.
Well, I have nothing to. Oh God, Charlie's.
See, like I got to start working on mine now.
So Charles going crazy right now on the spot.
Always thinking ahead.
Yeah, I got to start working on mine show. I got 2 weeks to go before my show.
Yep.
Yeah, this was a great shop concept. Is Deborah making a joke? Because I don't get it. I have no idea. Deborah's been drinking again. That's okay, Deb. We let you do it. We understand. It's a
show
gotcha.
concept.
Can't type lately.
I'm so stupid. I'm sorry, Deborah. This was a great show concept. Okay, whatever. We love you, darling. Next week, I have no idea. I may go outside the box.
Charles, we may be doing that later on. We're examining our we've done Scooby a number of times, and we're
done Scooby a billion times.
Actually, Scooby is my idea for my next show. Actually, so you're gonna see Scooby soon.
Yeah, we've done a lot of Scooby shows, Charles. Sorry, buddy.
But we love Scooby. Don't misunderstand what we're saying here.
We can do more shows on Scooby, but this won't be our first show on Scooby. We've at least done 3, so. We're going to that. Say, hey, look, everybody did a great job. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and watching us online and enjoying us. And we'll see you next week with whatever I come up with. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us. Saturday Morning Cartoons once again.